Wayne Phaneuf recently announced his retirement as executive director of the Republican newspaper after a long and distinguished career. Phaneuf spent 50 years at the newspaper starting in 1969. He's being succeeded by Cynthia Simison, the first woman executive editor in the newspaper's 195-year history. But he also wears another hat. He and his writing partner, Joe Carvalho, have written nearly 20 books on local history. Connecting Point's Ray Hershel sat down with Phaneuf and Carvalho to talk about Phaneuf's legendary newspaper career and the work both are doing in writing books that help keep local history alive.
I've always loved history, and this was an opportunity. When I first started at the paper, I started in 1969, in May of 1969. I can remember it because it was my birthday, when I started, it was really an opportunity to. I started in the Springfield Daily News. That was the afternoon paper, and so I spent a lot of time doing things on my own. I knew a lot about the city. I was always interested in history. I actually began my career for the first 2 months as the assistant to the cartoonist. And
that lasted 2 months?
That lasted 2 months. And it was Jim Trelease was the cartoonist.
Yeah.
So but after that, I just kind of got into the swing of things. And when you're talking 1969, I mean, that was the height of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
I remember going up to UMass there were 26,000 students up there that were listening to two kids that had just come over from Kent State. That was the day after the Kent State shootings. Those were the kinds of things that were happening back then, and it happened for years after that.
The biggest changes you've noticed over the years in the newspaper business, it's a tough business these days. The print newspaper, we're going online and things like that. But the major changes you've noticed in your career at the paper?
Basically, when I started out in 1969, we were actually putting the paper out the same way that they did in 1890. It was hot type. Everything was done pretty much in the same. And then when we started to digitize and get into that movement, massive changes kind of happened every 12 months. You change how you did things and stuff like that, and the technology.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, welcome to the show. Appreciate your presence as well.
Sure, right.
Where did your passion for history and work in the museums come from? You're retired president of Springfield Museums.
Yeah.
Where did that passion come from?
Well, my grandfather, instead of, he was big on history, and instead of reading me Dr. Seuss, I didn't get to know Dr. Seuss till I was older, and children's books, he would read stories from the Civil War. He would read me history.
Wow.
So I became very interested in that, and I stayed with it, and then teamed up with Martin Kaufman at Westfield State at the Institute for Massachusetts Studies, and worked on the journal for 20 years, and just became very much interested in history.
But what a run you've had at Springfield Museums, and an incredible record in terms of expansion, growth, developing the buildings and museums and so forth. How challenging was that in terms of getting this done here within the city of Springfield?
Oh, well, huge, because the city doesn't have a lot of millionaires and billionaires, so you have to really dig that money out. But it all stemmed from my interest in history, and I fell in love. When I moved to Springfield, fell in love with Springfield's history. Mm-hmm. And I realized how rich it was, and I'll die before I unearth all the good things that you could find out. There's so much out there. And so I believed in the city so much, it was easy to sell people on investing in their city. And it took work, but people step forward, and that's what the result is at the museums and throughout the city.
Well, you and Wayne brought with you today a few of the books that you've collaborated on.
Mm-hmm.
What a history that is in terms of you're putting these books out. Where did the friendship, the relationship come between you two in terms of getting the writing going?
Well, it's pretty interesting because I met Joe probably 40 years ago, over 40 years ago. When I started my history column at the paper called Looking Backwards, and it ran for several years.
Remember that, yeah.
I used to go down. I could go to the museum, or basically this was a library at the time, and I would go in and I would just find something that was interesting that I could do a column on. And all of a sudden I found Joe, and
I worked in the local history department, so we would dig stuff out, and
Yeah.
and I found that his articles really inspired a lot of people to look into their city and also get a level of pride in their city, and I think that's very important too.
Yeah. That actually was what it was all about. What I was thinking is what a wonderful, fantastic history that we have, and people have to know this, and it was kind of like the idea of, we've got a great city, we've got to tell that story.
And it's if my mind serves me correctly, I think you've written about 20 books, and I think there's 6 or so in the works
Right.
Yes.
right now.
That's correct.
Very, very prolific.
Yeah.
How do you turn out so many books? I mean, writing a book is challenging. You've got to research, you've got to get your facts straight, you've got to author it, you've got to have a style.
Ray, you're absolutely right. But the thing is, we've been doing it for 40 years. And so these are things we've been wanting to do for 40 years, and now we have an opportunity to put it together. But also, when we work at 6 books at once, while we're working on one book, we find something on something else. It's amazing how often we find something that you never would find otherwise. And so we're able to dig out a lot of things. But one of the underlying things for the entire series that we notice are a lot of things, untold stories and undertold stories, or people left out of the story. So, for example, a lot of our books on the various ethnic communities and their contributions, their stories weren't really folded into the traditional histories that were written. And now we've been able to bring their stories and weave that into the tapestry of our community that's very diverse. Mm-hmm. And everyone's contributed something. And so we've been able to show that with these books. And the future books that are coming up will continue that story.
They have ranged the gamut. Can you talk a little bit about the books that you're currently working on that will be coming out?
Well, one that we spent a lot of time on today is that we're going to be doing a book for the Forest Park in the Springfield Parks Department in general.
Okay.
And the first half of the book is going to be a very a good dive into the history of Forest Park, which is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But then we've got close to 20. How many other parks are there?
35.
35 parks.
So,
each one of
incredible.
those small parks in the city is going to have its own story.
Yeah.
Too.
And I guess there's no shortage of material, I gather, from you two individuals. You're just going to keep on writing and writing.
Yeah. We have one actually that's going to be coming out very soon, and it's the history of the Massasoit House and the Paramount Theater, which is basically the same building downtown. But it's an incredible story that goes back to 1843, and very few people know that there are parts of the 1843 building that are still there in the inside of the building that you see now.
And some of the most famous people in American history have stayed there or been part of that. So we're going to be telling that story. It's really remarkable. It's probably one of the most important historic buildings in Springfield, I think.
Yeah, maybe in the state.
Maybe in the state.